Okay, BMW E60 M5. So you might be thinking to yourselves, should I buy one of these vehicles? Well, it's a good question. It's a good question. And if you're thinking that to yourself, well, it's no wonder. What have we got here? Luxury sedan saloon. Seats 5 people in comfort. You've got a nice interior there. Alcantara headliner, merino leather seats. SMG gearbox. Limited slip diff. And of course that glorious high revving screaming V10 motor. And we know right now, because of the reputation these cars have got, they're going bloody cheap online, eh? You can pick them up reasonably cheap. Now there's a lot of dogs out there, but there's a hell of a lot of good, well looked after ones too. So it's certainly worth considering, eh? Certainly worth considering. 507 horsepower, 10 individual throttle bodies, and that exhaust note, man, it just sounds awesome. You know, in this engine, in a four-door sedan like this, that engine's verging on supercar territory. You know, this thing's insane. This thing's insane. It's awesome. So yeah, why the hell wouldn't you want one, you know? But with all that comes the responsibility of looking after a car like this. Now, we're not messing around here. We're not looking at a car like a Mondeo or a Camry, as far as reliability is concerned. These cars do take a bit of extra looking after. Now, I must say, as far as the reliability is concerned of these cars, that's something that's been blown way out of proportion all over the internet. I mean, you read anywhere, oh, these cars, they're no good, they're going to break down all the time, it's going to cost you a lot of money. And some of that's true up to a certain extent, but I think it all comes down to how you look after the car. And I think a lot of them problems people have had is just from misuse of the car, not looking after it properly. But just be mindful, they do take a bit of looking after. You know, you got that high revving V10 engine, it's reasonably highly strung. You don't want to misuse it, you want to take good care of it, keep on the front foot with the maintenance. And as far as I'm aware, these cars have 70 computers on them. So just think about that for a minute. And I think to own one of these cars, you've got to be really enthusiastic about them, almost verging on obsessive about the maintenance. Geez, look at the size of them brakes, eh? Beautiful. Anyhow, the question is, should you buy yourself one of these cars? Well, the answer to that question is, it depends. It depends on three things. Number one, what are you going to use the car for? Number two, how are you going to look after it and repair it? And number three, how are you going to pay for them repairs? Okay, so number one, what are you going to use the car for? So is it going to be a daily driver? Or is it going to be just like a weekend fun car? Take the family out now and again? Go for a hooning now and again? Or something you're going to tinker with, doing the maintenance yourself? You know, what are you going to use it for? Now, the main thing you want to consider with this question is the fuel consumption. These things love to drink fuel. These things drink fuel quicker than they're pulling oil out of the ground. It's insane. Like, if you're thinking of using this as a daily driver, you'll probably be better off using it on the weekend and buying a big block Chevelle to run in the week. It'll save you money. Now, but in all seriousness, the consumption readings I get is 5.5 to 8.5 k's per litre, depending on how you drive the thing. And if you're going to own a car like this, you're not going to be driving it around like a grandma most of the time, you know. So if you are thinking of driving the car every day, just keep that in mind. And that feeling of filling it up all the time is exasperated because the car's got a relatively small fuel tank as well, so you feel like you're putting fuel in it all the time if you drive this every day. So just keep that in mind. Now, the other part to that question is, if you are going to daily drive it, and especially if it's your sole means of transport, there's going to be times when, you know, you might be running late for work, you need to get to a meeting quickly, or you have to run your kid to the doctors in a hurry. You're going to want to just jump in the car and get going. So this probably isn't the best car for that, because although you might have more pressing issues to worry about, it's not going to do your rod bearing life any good if you don't give it a proper warm-up procedure before you drive the thing. You know, this is a high performance car, even though it looks like a relatively normal sedan from the outside. So just keep that in mind too. They do require that extra bit of care. Now then, number two, how are you going to look after the car? How are you going to get it repaired? So is it going to be a car that you're going to tinker with yourself, do most of the repairs yourself? Are you going to be relying on a garage to do all the repairs? because these things can be quite expensive on parts. As long as you look after the car, as long as you keep on the front foot with all the maintenance, they shouldn't bite you in the ass with any big surprises. Now, I think the best way to own one of these cars is if you're a DIY guy, a real enthusiast, you know, you like to get stuck in and do them repairs yourself and you enjoy it. And like I say, you've almost got to be verging on obsessive about looking after this car and working on it, and it'll reward you heaps and heaps. It's just they're a beautiful car to own. But like I say, it does take that extra bit of looking after. So if you're a DIY guy, I think that's the best idea. That's the best way to go. Now, if you don't like to get stuck in yourselves with the spanners, but you do like driving it and you are enthusiastic about it, not to worry. There are plenty of BMW specialists out there, independent specialists. And of course, there's always the dealer, but they're going to cost you a bit of extra money, and they'll follow repair procedures according to their systems and procedures. So the dealer's not always going to approach these cars with the idea of preventative maintenance, you know. As far as an enthusiast would go, they're going to look at just maintaining the car on a regular sort of basis and just conducting repair as and when they arise. But on the other hand, an independent BMW garage that really knows these cars, they're going to be able to advise you on what steps to take to really prevent any of them big repairs rearing an ugly head. And they're going to have different repair options when things do fail, you know, like they might be able to look at fitting a second-hand used SMG pumps, they might be able to rebuild your throttle actuators, you know, things like that, whereas the dealer's just going to throw brand new parts at it like as a unit. So if you're not going to do the bulk of the repairs yourself, it is worth finding a really good independent garage, build a good relationship with them. But you know, going to the dealer's not to be scoffed at either, and it's worth building a good relationship with them too. But like I say, it's going to cost you a lot more money at the dealer. And look, I'm certainly no financial expert, but if you don't have the extra disposable income or some funds put aside to look after one of these cars, if you don't look after it, then things are going to catch up with you. You know, that neglected maintenance is going to catch up with you, and it's going to bite you in the ass big time, and it's going to cost you a lot of money. And then you're either going to have to find more money to repair it, or you're going to be still looking at a very nice ornament in your driveway that you can't drive. So just bear that in mind. But if you are going to be looking after the car yourself, you know, looking after that maintenance yourself, doing the repairs yourself, there are ways and means of going about it relatively cheaply, as long as you're keeping front with it and on the front foot with all that maintenance. You know, you've really got to understand the common faults with these cars, especially the big failures, and make sure you carry out that preventative maintenance up front so it doesn't come to bite you on the arse later on, you know. And look, you don't have to look far on the internet to find plenty of information about these cars in regards to what does fail and the maintenance required. You know, most of the common problems have been well documented now and what it takes to prevent them, so all the information's out there. And also check out some of my other repair videos on YouTube. But certainly don't be put off by the negativity these cars have got, you know, with regards to breaking down. I feel a lot of it's certainly over the top, you know, and these cars, they are highly strung cars, you know, with that engine and whatnot, and they're an M car like many other M cars. If you do let the maintenance slip or you abuse these cars, you don't look after them properly, they can fail catastrophically, and that's when it really bites you in the ass. But if you go about the ownership correctly, they can be a very rewarding car to own. So, should you buy yourself one? Well, it's your money, you do as you like. But just bear in mind, you don't want to go into that purchase naively. You know, find one that's been well looked after and carry on looking after it, and you'll have yourself a hell of a car for not much money right now. They're a hell of a bargain. So yeah, why the hell wouldn't you want one, you know, especially at the prices they are now. Beautiful car, beautiful car. But if you're a BMW enthusiast, you know, you like the M cars, you work on your cars yourself, then certainly go for it. You won't be disappointed. Alright, I'm M Tech Guy. Thanks for watching, guys.